Hi, I'm Larry, 45, and 3 days ago I watched my own father try to steal my daughter's future with a single mouse click. We were all crammed into the bank's little glass office like it was a family meeting. Except the screen in front of us didn't show vacation plans or mortgage numbers. It showed $52,000 about to be transferred out of my daughter's college fund. And my dad's finger? Already hovering over the mouse like this was no big deal. Weddings are more important than education, my sister Megan said, like she was explaining the weather. People remember a wedding. No one remembers where you went to college. My mom didn't even look up from her purse. Besides, Mia's too smart anyway. She doesn't really need college. They said that, 3 days after Mia got accepted to MIT. Massachusetts freaking Institute of Technology. I had the email printed out and folded behind my license like a secret weapon. I should have been screaming, but I didn't. I just stood up and said, I need to make a call. No one even blinked. Because in their heads, the money was already theirs. I'm a cabbie. Have been since I was 20. I know every crack street in Boston, every shortcut through traffic, every late-night diner with coffee strong enough to punch you in the face. I'm also a single dad. Mia's mom left when she was 2. Said she wasn't built for this. But I was. I learned how to braid hair from YouTube. I packed lunches, did school projects at 2 a.m., and kept $25 rolling into a college fund since the day Mia turned 1. That account wasn't for me. It wasn't for the family. It was for Mia's shot at something we never had. And now they were treating it like a wedding gift registry. 2 months before this bank ambush, Megan called while I was in the taxi queue at Logan. Good news, she chirped. Dylan and Ashley picked a wedding date. For what? I asked, already knowing. June. Waterfront venue. It's like 30 grand, but you only get married once, right? She didn't even wait for my reaction before continuing. Mom and Dad are putting in 10. You've got Mia's college thing, so you can help with a big chunk. She called it Mia's college thing. I said no. Politely, at first. Offered to pitch in for the rehearsal dinner. 5-6 grand, maybe. But the fund? Not negotiable. She went cold. Wow. Good to know where we stand. Apparently, where we stand was now ambushing me at the bank with a power of attorney I'd signed a year ago, while drugged in a hospital bed after getting rear-ended by a drunk driver. Just in case. Dad had said at the time, to help manage your bills. Turns out it was a license to rob me blind. I stepped into the hallway, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my teeth, and called the only lawyer I knew. His name's Vic. We got stuck in traffic together once and talked the whole hour. Larry, he said on the second ring. Everything okay? No, I said. I think my parents just stole my kid's college fund. Vic didn't waste time. Go back in, he said. Ask to speak with the branch manager alone. Don't yell. Don't accuse. Use one word, fraud. Then put me on speaker. So I did. Walked back into that stupid little glass office with knees like jello. Megan was scrolling through her phone like this was a coffee date. Dad was making weather small talk with a manager. Mom was digging around in her purse like maybe she'd find a moral compass in there somewhere. Hey, I said. Before you finalize anything, I need to talk to the manager. Alone. Oh, here we go. Megan groaned. Don't be dramatic, Larry. But I didn't look at her. I looked at the manager. I need to talk to you. Alone. Maybe it was my face. Maybe it was the word fraud I had already dropped at the front desk. But something in him twitched, and he said, Sure. Once they were out, I hit speaker. Hi, Vic said smoothly. This is Attorney Vic Patel. Mr. Russo believes an unauthorized transfer has been initiated from his daughter's educational account. We need that transfer frozen immediately. The manager blanched. Yes, of course. One moment. He started clicking. Then stopped. Frowned. This is a custodial 529 plan, he said. Owner Larry Russo. Beneficiary Mia Russo. No co-owners. Vic leaned in. Any authorized users? Just Mr. Russo. Mia has view-only access. That's it. I blinked. Then how the hell did my father just almost transfer $52,000? The manager's voice went quiet. That wasn't completed. It was a queued internal request. He came in last week with a limited power of attorney form. We assumed. Vic's tone turned to steel. Assumed what? That he was acting on your behalf. He said it was to help manage things because you drive long hours. My stomach dropped. That POA. After the accident, I was in a neck brace, half sedated, and my dad had shoved a stack of papers at me. Said it was just in case. I signed them all without thinking. Figured it was about paying bills. It wasn't. That document is revoked, Dick said, crisp and calm. Effective immediately. No one moves a cent from that account unless it's for tuition. Flag everything. I'll send the revocation in writing within the hour. The manager nodded like he was being held at gunpoint. Understood. I'm canceling the transfer now. The funds will not leave the account. I let out a breath that felt like it had been stuck for 18 years. The money was still there. Mia's future was still intact. But my family? Not so much. Vic said. Larry, you and I are going to clean house today. We met at his office above a pizza joint that smelled like melted garlic and regret. I had a manila folder full of statements. Mia's fund, my checking account, that stupid joint savings account my parents begged me to co-own. For vacation dreams. Vic flipped through each paper slowly. Then he said, Your dad's been busy. The 529 account was safe. But the joint savings? 6 months ago, it had $14,000. Now? $1,200. The rest had been bled out, payments labeled. Wedding savings. Cash withdrawals, credit card payments in their names. They've been robbing you blind, Larry, Dick said. With your signature. My hands were fists in my lap. They said having my name on the account made them feel secure. Dick didn't flinch. It made them feel like you were a walking ATM. We spent the next hour gutting everything. I revoked the POA. Removed my dad from every account. Moved all joint funds into new ones. Cancelled the $600 a month auto transfer I'd been sending them for years. Then Vic asked, Did Megan ever mention the wedding venue? Yeah. Waterfront. Big deposit. He called them on speaker. Turned out the deposit was on a credit card I'd opened years ago with my dad, meant for emergencies. Oh, Mr. Russo, the woman said. We have a $10,000 deposit under your name. Not anymore, I said. That card was used without authorization. Consider the booking cancelled. By the time Vic was done, the venue was wiped. The date was released. The charge disputed. Somewhere, Megan's dream wedding had just flatlined, and I hadn't even raised my voice. Then my phone buzzed. Dad, where did the money go? Mom, your father is panicking. Fix this. Megan, are you serious? They said the venue is cancelled. What did you do? I didn't reply. Instead, I got in my cab, turned the radio down low, took the long way home, and opened the screenshot of Mia's MIT letter like it was a lighthouse in a storm. When I got home that night, Mia was still up. Sitting at the kitchen table in one of my old hoodies, tea mug in hand, highlighter in her mouth. The MIT financial aid packet was printed out in front of her like it was sacred scripture. Hey, Dad, she said without looking up. Did you know the student union has a bowling alley? I didn't answer right away. I was too busy memorizing her face. Her messy bun. The wrinkle between her eyebrows. The quiet confidence I'd watched grow from a toddler into a young woman who belonged exactly where she'd been accepted. Kiddo, I said, sitting across from her. We need to talk. Her eyes snapped up. Am I not going to be able to go? God. That was her first fear. That they had won. No, I said firm. You're going. You're absolutely going. Then I told her everything. The bank. The transfer. The POA. Vic. The frozen wedding. My parents trying to rob her blind. Her face moved through the entire emotional spectrum, confusion, fear, disbelief, then something harder. They tried to take my college money? She said quietly. Yeah, I said. They did. She looked over at the fridge, where a photo of Dylan in his varsity jacket had been taped up for years by my mom. She stood, crossed the room, and peeled it off without a word. Tossed it in the trash like it was nothing. I don't want them at my graduation, she said, staring into the sink. Okay, I said. And I don't care if Dylan's wedding is in a parking lot. That made me laugh, just a little. She cracked a smile, too. Then she looked at me, really looked at me, and said, Thank you for choosing me. I didn't say anything back. I couldn't. My throat was a knot. All I could do was nod. The next morning, the phone started blowing up like I'd kicked a hornet's nest. By 10 a.m., I had 23 missed calls. I ignored them all. Picked up a few airport runs. Dropped off a tech bro who kept calling his assistant Champ. Then a mom with 3 kids and one very loud juice box. Pulled into my usual coffee place. Phone rang again. I sighed. Answered. Dad. You trying to get me arrested? He barked. The wedding account's frozen. The venue's cancelled. The bank flagged my name. What the hell did you do? You tried to steal from your granddaughter, I said calmly. I stopped you. Oh, don't be dramatic. We rearranged things. You've always been sensitive. Mom's voice jumped in. Larry, please. Think about Dylan. The wedding is in 4 months. We've already promised people. Mia's smart. She'll figure something out. But Dylan? He only gets 1 shot. She got into MIT. I said. That's her 1 shot. Then my dad said it. The one that burned. MIT? You think they're going to accept her? She's a cabbie's kid from Boston. Weddings are real. College is just a dream. There it was. They didn't just want the money. They didn't think she deserved it. I took a breath. My voice came out ice cold. Let me be clear. You're off my accounts. The $600 a month? Gone. The joint savings? Closed. The wedding deposit? Disputed. Mia's fund? Locked down. You don't get another cent. Silence. Then rage. You ungrateful little. We raised you. You're ruining your nephew's life over a number on a screen. I let them go off, said nothing. Then dropped the line I'd been saving. I'm not your backup bank, I said. And I'm not funding a family that doesn't consider my daughter part of it. Then Mom tried one last Hail Mary. So you're choosing her over us? I actually laughed. Yes, I said. That's what being a parent is. And I hung up. Blocked their numbers. That's when the real fire started. Texts from cousins, aunts, uncles, all getting the version where I was the villain. Where I'd gambled away Mia's fund and blamed them. Where I was canceling the wedding over a misunderstanding. But then, Ashley, Dylan's fiancée, messaged me. I'm not taking sides, she wrote. But they told everyone you stole the money, not them. Also, they said Mia probably won't make it at MIT anyway. That was it. I replied, short and brutal. The money is there. They tried to move it into your wedding account behind my back. I stopped it. You're welcome to check the bank records for whose name was on that account. 3 dots. Then nothing. Until an hour later, my cousin Mark called. Okay, he said. I talked to Ashley. I checked with the bank. I'm a co-signer on the wedding account. Your parents are lying through their damn teeth. He paused. I'm not going to your parents' house this Sunday. If you and Mia want to come over, we're grilling. I bought that stupid MIT hoodie she wanted. The red one. Figured she earned it. I blinked hard. You didn't have to do that, I said. I wanted to, he replied. That was the beginning of something new. And the unraveling of everything old. The meltdown at my parents' house happened without me. But the retellings rolled in like a tsunami. Apparently, Megan lost it first. Full banshee mode. Screamed at my parents in the kitchen that they were supposed to handle it. That she told them to drain the account faster. You said Larry would never notice, she shrieked. Dad yelled back. Something about. He was supposed to be the fallback. Mom cried into a tea towel. Classic 3-act chaos. But the part that really stunned everyone. Dylan. Dylan, golden boy, refrigerator, varsity jacket royalty, stood up in the middle of the shouting and said, I didn't ask you to steal from Mia. Then walked out. That was the first time anyone in that house had chosen my daughter out loud. The next day, I started getting texts from cousins who had suddenly remembered dentist appointments or destination weddings that weekend. One even admitted, not trying to pick sides, but your parents kinda brought this on themselves. And then came the door knock. It was Tuesday. Mia and I were at the table surrounded by college brochures, meal plans, dorm layouts, and a half-burned stir-fry I'd tried to salvage. We were deep in a conversation about whether she could survive on campus without her weighted blanket when someone knocked hard, our knock. That particular rhythm of impatience. I froze. Mia flinched. I opened the door but didn't move aside. My parents stood in the hallway like it was their apartment. My dad in his Bruins jacket. My mom with a tight, sour mouth like she was sucking on lemon guilt. We're here to talk some sense into you, Dad said, stepping forward. I didn't budge. There's nothing to talk about. He rolled his eyes and tried to push past me. My mom peeked over my shoulder, spotted Mia at the table. You're confusing her, she snapped. Dragging her into adult problems. She doesn't understand money. Mia stood. She was shaking, but she came to the doorway anyway. I understand you tried to take my college fund, she said. I understand you don't think I belong at MIT. My mom's mouth dropped open like a cartoon. That's not, we were just reorganizing. My dad barked. Fine. You know what? Maybe we don't think you belong there. Maybe we think you're setting yourself up for failure. And when you drop out, don't come crying to us. Mia didn't flinch. She just nodded. Don't worry. I won't. And something in my father's eyes, just for a second, wavered. Like he'd accidentally said the quiet part out loud. Dad, I said, voice flat. This is the last time I'm going to say this. You are not entitled to my money. You are not entitled to my kid's future. You don't get special treatment while insulting my daughter in my doorway. Mom pulled the old grenade. Family doesn't turn their backs on each other. You turned your back on her, I said, the second you decided her education was optional. I stepped back and closed the door. They didn't wedge a foot in. They didn't beg. They didn't cry. They just stood there until the latch clicked. On the other side of the door, I heard Mom whisper, He'll come around. He always does. But this time? She was wrong. Mia moved into her dorm in late August. It was one of those disgusting Boston days where the air feels like chowder and the sidewalk smells like it's been baking old pizza for 12 hours. We packed up my cab like a clown car, 2 suitcases, a box of books, a folding lamp, a bin full of noodles, and the giant blue IKEA bag that held everything from hoodie strings to hope. MIT's campus was buzzing. Kids in nerdy t-shirts shouting to each other across sidewalks, parents double parking and pretending not to cry. The kind of chaos that makes you want to both cry and high-five strangers. We dragged her stuff up to the 4th floor of Simmons Hall. Her roommate was already gone, but there was a sticky note on the desk. Welcome, Mia, smiley face, Jules. She smiled when she saw it, stuck it to her laptop. We made her bed, tucked her MIT acceptance letter into the closet door, and taped one of our old photo booth strips to the desk hutch. It was the one where we both looked sunburned and Mia had cotton candy in her teeth. Then came the knock on this door. But this time it wasn't trouble, it was Mark. Cousin Mark. The only one who didn't flinch when everything exploded. He showed up with his wife and 2 kids and handed Mia a bright red MIT hoodie. You'll need this in about 2 weeks, he said. This place turns from sauna to freezer real fast. She pulled it on immediately, even though she was sweating bullets. Grinned like it was armor. We grabbed food from a halal truck by the river and found a spot where we could see the boats. There were 8 of us, me, Mia, Mark's family, and one of my old cab buddies who refused to miss this nerd castle moment. I sat there with a falafel in one hand and the knowledge that we made it. Somehow, after everything, we'd made it. My phone buzzed. I glanced down. 3 new texts from my mom. We heard move-in is today. We weren't invited. You'll regret this. Maybe once, I would have panicked. Maybe I'd have wondered if I was doing the wrong thing. But now, looking at Mia, sweaty, nervous, glowing in her too big hoodie, I felt nothing but peace. I didn't want the fake grandparent on the lawn photo. I didn't need the approval of people who tried to rob her future. I just needed this. Her. Laughing beside me. Knowing that she belonged. On the drive home, MIT shrank in the rearview mirror. Mia sat beside me, clutching a bag of overpriced dorm essentials from the campus store. You okay? I asked. She nodded. Scared, but good. We rode in silence for a bit. Then she asked, Do you think they'll ever apologize? I glanced at her. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. She nodded slowly. Do they still get money from you? I shook my head. Nope. Not a penny. She let out a long breath. That kind of breath you don't even know you're holding until someone tells you it's safe to let it go. Good. That night, after dropping Mia off and pretending I wasn't the kind of dad who cries in parking garages, I got home to my quiet apartment and opened a folder I'd labeled MIA Future in Sharp. Inside were all the printouts. The 529 statement. The financial aid letter. A copy of the POA revocation. Receipts for every fire I'd put out. For the first time in years, it felt like I wasn't drowning in obligations to everyone else. No more $600 monthly drain. No more. It's just a small favor. Texts. No more guilt-laced IOUs disguised as family love. I poured myself a terrible cup of instant coffee and sat at the table. And that's when it came. An email. From Ashley. Dylan's fiancée. Subject line, just so you know. I opened it with my stomach clenched. Braced for passive-aggressive righteousness. But it wasn't that. It was screenshots. Text messages. Between Megan and my parents. Chat threads where they openly talked about the plan to bleed the account dry. We'll move it before he notices. Larry's soft. Make it look like college stuff. Mia doesn't need all of it. Ashley didn't say much. Just one line beneath the files. I thought you deserved to see this. I stared at the screen, my jaw locked so tight I felt it in my molars. Then came a second message. This one from Dylan. Uncle Larry. I'm sorry. That's all it said. Not much. But more than I ever expected from the golden boy. And then came the third and final message. The one that stuck. Megan. Hope you're happy. The venue dropped us. The guest list's a disaster. Mom's a mess. Dylan blames me. Ashley is threatening to postpone. You ruined everything. For what? A school that'll eat me alive? I didn't respond. Instead, I screenshotted her message, emailed it to myself, and dragged it into the MIA future folder. Labeled it proof I did the right thing. The next day, Mark called. They had a full blowout. He said. Megan blamed your parents for not moving the money fast enough. Your dad told her she never should have counted on it. Your mom cried into her casserole. And Dylan? Ghosted them. He's staying with Ashley's parents for now. Told me he's done playing the family's favorite son. Apparently, he said, and I quote, I'd rather live in a studio apartment and marry Ashley at City Hall than steal from Mia again. I sat back stunned. Huh. Also, Mark added, you've got a few cousins quietly texting me to ask how to send Mia something for school. They're not ready to face you yet, but they're switching sides. The dam was cracking. I didn't gloat. I didn't send a triumphant group text. I just bought an MIT bumper sticker and slapped it on the cab. Let them all see it. Let them all know. You can't erase 18 years of sacrifice for a waterfront wedding and a plate of salmon in a tent. You can't break what's built out of love, struggle, and the promise of a better shot. And you damn sure can't rewrite the story just because it makes you uncomfortable. 2 weeks into Mia's semester, I got a voicemail from my mom. We miss you. That's how it started. Soft. Familiar. Like we were just coming off a little disagreement about dinner plans, not an attempted theft of my daughter's future. It's been hard around here. She continued, voice cracking in that performative way she used when she wanted sympathy without taking blame. Dylan barely visits. Megan won't speak to us. Your father's been in a mood. And I thought maybe we could talk. Clear the air. I listened to it 3 times. Each time, I got angrier. Clear the air? The air was crystal. It stunk because of them. I saved the voicemail, just in case. Then blocked her number again. They tried again later that week. This time, with a letter. Hand-delivered. Someone, probably my dad, slid it under my apartment door like a mob threat. It was 3 pages long, printed in Times New Roman like it was a resignation letter from decency. It started with, "We love you," and ended with, "You've always been dramatic." They wanted forgiveness, but not responsibility. They wanted access, not accountability. They didn't want me back, they wanted the money back. The final paragraph was the kicker. If Mia does well at MIT, great. But if it doesn't work out, we hope you'll realize we only ever tried to help. You're our son, but you're not better than us. None of this makes you special. I didn't respond. Instead, I made a different kind of reply. I logged back into the 529 account and set up a new authorization rule. Once Mia turns 21, she gets full access. No POA required. No parental gatekeeping. It's hers, officially and forever. I also moved all remaining joint family accounts into a new bank. One they didn't know. One they'd never find. And then I did something small, but final. I mailed them a card. No return address. Inside I just wrote, "Mia says thank you. Because of you, she now knows exactly who she doesn't want to become." I signed it with a tiny doodle of a taxi. The next weekend, I drove to MIT with a box of groceries and a toolkit because her desk lamp wouldn't stop flickering and she'd somehow already cracked her dorm's soap dispenser. She met me on the sidewalk, wearing the red hoodie Mark gave her, MIT lanyard around her neck, and a physics book under one arm. "Hey, Dad," she said, like we hadn't just lived through a war. "Did you know my lab partner's mom is a NASA engineer?" I blinked. "Is that intimidating or awesome?" She grinned. "Both." Later, over greasy falafel and fizzy soda from the student union, she asked me, "Do you think they'll ever try again?" I didn't even need to ask who she meant. "They might," I said. "But I don't think they'll get far." She nodded. "If they show up to graduation, can we ask them to leave?" I smiled. "Kiddo, if they show up, you'll be too busy walking across that stage to notice." She looked down, fidgeting with her straw wrapper. "I used to think family meant always forgiving people. No matter what." "Me too," I said. She looked up at me, eyes clearer than I'd ever seen them. "Now I think it just means knowing who would burn down the house to keep your light on. And who'd steal your matches while you weren't looking." I reached across the table. Squeezed her hand. "Exactly. She made it." MIT stole her breath, but never her fire. "And me?" I never looked back.